This is Frontier Opening Bell. It's Monday, the 17th of October. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the start of a brand new markets and business week here on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Amofaye. Let's just get you a very quick summary of how the markets finished off last week across the markets. The Egyptian markets started its trading week on Sunday, and you can see the numbers are very strong, 1.98%, roughly 2% for the EGX, grabbing that 10,000 psychological reading once again after losing that sometime in the third quarter. Now the Egyptian market is back on the upside, a very big jump to start the new week. The rest of African markets will be reopening today, Monday, but just give you a summary of a snapshot of how things finished off on Friday night. Nigerian stock market up by roughly 0.1% on a week-on-week basis. We managed about 0.4% positive. The BRVM climbed 0.02% on Friday, but you can see the composite still below the 200 reading. That's a psychological level for the Ivorian market, which comprises of companies within the 8 French-speaking West African states. The Nairobi market, 0.86% on Friday, 129.90. That's still below the water for the East Africa's largest exchange, well below the 130, 140 higher reading we've seen sometime in the half of the year. Then the GSE, South African exchange, the biggest exchange on the continent, had knocked 67,000 this year, but now trading around 64,200. We'll see how the markets will start this particular trading week, the third in the month. Let's get on the big headlines, stories across the continent. East Africa, always where we get started with the KCB Group looking to convert 25% of its loan book or portfolio to green finance by the year 2025, in line with the rest of the world, with banks, other financial institutions mainstreaming and all adjusting to clean energy, climate change, climate adaptation. And that is what KCB Group says is going to do between now and 2025, on board 25% of its loan book. And the NSSF has put about 25.5 billion shillings in Eastern and Southern African Trade and Development Bank. In the meantime, Kenya says it has no plans to default on China's railway a loan. That's about $5 billion US dollars, by the way. And Uganda's gold exports resumed in August. The East African economy posted about 32% jump in revenue or receipts from gold exports. Gold prices still a little bit sticky to the upside, around 1,600 on average since the start of the fourth quarter. Maintained that a little bit higher, touched 1,800 briefly sometime in the early part of the third quarter. Put that in mind. Let's take on the West Africa. The whole IMF World Bank annual meetings finished off on Sunday in Washington, D.C. The IMF trims Sub-Saharan Africa's growth to 3.7% this year from 4.4% last year, and says that is likely to go a little bit lower for 2023. That's part of the latest Africa Economic Outlook report, which was released on Friday. The Central Bank of Nigeria's Governor Godwin Emefiele was speaking at the IMF summit in Washington and says Nigeria's central bank's quantitative easing will now be slowed down considerably to few major projects. The whole Anchor Borrowers program in agriculture, as well as manufacturing, industrial manufacturing, will now be stopped in order to allow other measures to take in, allow the fiscal economy to kick in, as well as looking to contain inflation. In the meantime, the Good Power company listed directly on the NGX just about a couple of weeks ago has reported very robust earnings, and that particular listing, according to the chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Limited, will be the curtain raiser for other power generators and power distribution companies in Nigeria to also step forward into the debt capital markets and equities as well moving forward. And Ghana banks are showing green signals despite the tough pressure the macroeconomy is currently under. And the Central Bank for West Africa, BCIO, says net foreign assets and FX reserves are down July 31 period. That's backward-looking data within that particular space. Let's take on the Southern Africa's top headlines as we get into the new week. South Africa, Mauritius, and Nigeria, according to reports, are top African markets in terms of depth and transparency In terms of for Nigeria, it's all about what the SEC is doing. The same goes for Mauritius on the island of the Pacific east coast of the continent, as well of course, Africa's leading financial powerhouse that South Africa really is. And MTN says its talks to buy out Telkom are stalled, at least for now. We'll see what the latest really is. It's been a long-running discussion between MTN and Telkom for that acquisition by the biggest telco on the African continent, headquartered in SA. That's MTN's group. Namibia's annual inflation came in late last week at 7% for the month of 7.1% for the month of September, while the country says it will keep cutting rate as long as inflation is low. That's from the central bank governor of Angola, Africa's second largest oil producer. Let's bring in the Northern African economies and business this Monday. Morocco's energy bill is surging amid LNG freight rate hike, while Egypt is expecting GDP to grow by 5.5% for its 2022-2023 period. In the meantime, the World Bank says it's cooperating with Egypt in terms of food security. Egypt has one of the largest wheat importation in Africa. And Spain says it has relaunched the undersea railway tunnel that will connect the European country to one of the biggest country in North Africa, Spain, Morocco. The undersea railway tunnel is now being revisited and could as well move on into a start. And finally, Spain is also relaunching the undersea tunnel linking Morocco. That's the second story there as well. Thank you very much, everyone. It's a very interesting day, October the 17th. Let's get the week underway. We have quite a number of stories on our radar this week. The Africa Energy Chambers annual conference or summit in South Africa, Cape Town, will be kicking off tomorrow, Tuesday till Thursday. Keep an eye on that. We're focusing on that also for you. We're reporting the headline stories from this. You have big names, oil-producing countries around the world, energy ministers and big companies from Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Angola, and elsewhere, Senegal, all attending. Quite a very big one. You don't want to miss that. Nigeria's debt management office will be selling about 200 billion in Naira bond tomorrow, which is also on tap. We'll get the data for you as well in the week. So remember to follow us on all our social media handles. And of course, you can watch this show again on our YouTube, Frontier Africa Reports YouTube. It's free. You can subscribe. Bye for now. Have a great day, everyone.